It's Toots' Tips brought to you by the Huddle House on Highway 280 between Sylacauga and Childersburg. And always good. I had breakfast in there yesterday. You know what I got yesterday?
Everything on the menu?
Well, close. The patty melt.
Yeah.
Oh, you get the onions grilled real good, and you have a patty melt and fries, and you're good to go.
Have you tried the Southern smothered biscuit?
No, I'm sure you have, though.
It's not bad at all.
Doug called me last night, and I was already nodding off. He said, "What about Toots' Tips?" I said, "Well, Doug, it'll be on in the morning at 7 o'clock. He said, "Oh, yeah, that's right."
Well, you can't help but, he's sort of forgetful. He's getting a little age on him like we are. But it's a great place to eat, and I'm going to tell you, we go out there every Wednesday morning. That's almost a standard. And when we sit down, the people we run into and meet and talk with, it takes us, we're supposed to be playing golf at 9:30, and most of the time it's after 10 when we get to where we're going. So it's a great place to meet people, a great place to eat, and the employees there, there's none no better. Anywhere you might go, there's none no better.
Well, we picked 10 games last week.
Okay. I think 5 and 5 might have been the best.
It was 5 and 5.
Well, there's some teams. You take Kentucky, and I picked Auburn with my heart. LSU, there's no way they should have lost, but they did. So that would have made the record pretty good if those three had done. And Auburn had a chance to win a football game at the very end.
You picked North Carolina over Georgia.
I sure did. Well, again, you get into this new quarterback systems, and you didn't know how the Chubb guy was going to react, and he ran wild. And I was going, Gene Chizik, the defensive coordinator at North Carolina, great defensive mind. But anyway,
there were some great games, though, wasn't there?
They were that, man. Alabama just sort of picked up where they left off. I think they've settled on a quarterback. Auburn University, still up in there a little bit about who they're going to play.
Well, let's get to them. Right before we do, that Texas Notre Dame game, man. I didn't stay
Texas
up you did. I didn't stay up and watch all of it.
I did.
Man, it was a great game.
It was a great football game. Charlie Strong, the head football coach over there, you just got to feel good for him. Defensive coordinator at Florida, doing a great job down there with them. Worked with Spurrier a long time. So he had some good teaching, but that team got after him pretty well. So look out on the horizon for the Texas Longhorns.
Well, just as there were a lot of great games last week, there's not this week.
Well, Jim, the season opened, and now it's starting to be a more traditional intersectional matchups and what have you. And I think that's good for college football, and it gives the coaches, I think, instead of playing a daggone little rinky-dink team and not knocking any of them, but it's good to get a measuring stick. And I think when you play the type of caliber of football that people played in the opening games this year, you do get a good measuring stick of what you've really got.
All right, let's get started tonight. Number 13, Louisville. Did they score 100 points last week or close to it? They played Syracuse.
Well, is it at the Carrier Dome?
It is.
Oh, boy. I'm going to tell you, Louisville, I was really impressed. I ain't really crazy about their head football coach, but he likes some motorcycles. But anyway, I like the Louisville Cardinals to beat the Orangemen of Syracuse. And
Louisville's got Petrino. He's got 2 or 3 of his family members coaching on that team.
Oh, yeah. I guess that's good. So if he retires, they can keep going and support him.
All right. Saturday, Clemson, their first home game of the season after edging Auburn, plays an in-state school here in Alabama, Troy University.
Well, I'm going to tell you, I just don't see there's Troy is probably in their classification. They may be real good. They're not ready for the likes of Clemson. And I think Clemson will probably name their score. I'm thinking the Watson kid, Jim, didn't play his best ball game against Auburn.
Auburn did a much better job than what a lot of people thought they would do.
Yeah, defensively, they really did a pretty good job on him. But Auburn, again, they can rest some guys now on the defensive front. But I really like Clemson and Dabo over the Troy Trojans.
You see where he and his wife gave $1 million to Clemson University? Mm-hmm. Million.
Yeah.
That's $1 million.
Well, when you make the salary that he makes,
I guess
you can do that.
Yeah. Florida hosting Kentucky. Kentucky had a game won, and somehow or another they lost.
Yeah, they found a way to lose. It was the Mississippi Southern, if I remember. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they found a way to lose, but you go into the swamp and try to jump on them Gators, and again, they were not tested in their first game. Kentucky, one year they went in there and beat the Florida, but not going to happen. Florida Gators. Well,
Florida has lost a couple of key players this week, but Toot takes the Gators over Kentucky. Number 1 Alabama against the Hilltoppers of Western Kentucky.
Boy, there's upset. No, there's not one. Alabama will win going away. Again, this is just no match for the type caliber that Alabama team is. They're loaded again.
Well, this guy, the quarterback for Western Kentucky, he played at South Florida. He was good down there until he lost his job. He threw for 517 yards against Rice last week. Mm-hmm. He's expected to be a high draft choice when the NFL draft happens, but he hadn't played an Alabama defense either.
No, well, I'm going to tell you, the Alabama rushes the quarterback with 4 down linemen, and they do great with it. If there's any suspect at all, it's the defensive backs of the Crimson Tide. I just don't think he'll throw it on 500 yards against Alabama's front four.
All right, Toots takes Alabama over Western Kentucky, South Carolina, and Mississippi State.
Flip a coin. Now, let's see. Mississippi State got beat last week. Who was it beat them? South Alabama.
They did.
Joey Jones
beat
them. I don't know. Dan Mullins better right the ship, and he better do it in a hurry, because there'll be some more of them pressures on
it's over in Starkville, so that'll help them some.
Yeah, it's always good to have a home game, but so was the South Alabama game. I'll tell you, South Carolina found a way to beat Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt had a big lead, lost it. I look for the Gamecocks, though, to go to Starkville, and they're going to get their feathers plucked. I'm going to go with the Bulldogs.
All right, go with the Bullpups. Maybe as good a game, possible matchup as most of any this weekend. Arkansas is at TCU.
Yep, the Razorbacks, I'm going to tell you, did they not get beat last week?
They won, but just by the hair of their chin.
Well, I'm going to tell you, them Horned Frogs, they pretty sporty. I think they ranked about 15th in the country.
Score a lot of points.
Yes, they do. And you got to wonder if Arkansas' defense can hold out that long. I don't think so. Going with TCU.
All right. Auburn, coming off a disappointing loss, and there's been so much talk this week about the 3 quarterbacks that they used, and now Coach Gus Malzahn said it was a mistake. It was not going to happen again. They play Arkansas State Saturday night at Jordan-Hare, and already people are kind of upset about this football team.
Well, Jim, I'm going to tell you my own personal opinion, and people I've talked to feel pretty much the same way. If you got a quarterback, whomever, and you driving the football team down the field, and you get down in the red zone, and by the way, they were there 4 times and came away with nothing. And then all of a sudden, you yank him out, put one in, what's he do? He quickly throws an interception, kills the drive. I don't know. I don't know. They said it was planned. Where it was or not, I really don't know. But I think now they've narrowed it down to 2 quarterbacks. Franklin and White.
I think White's going to be the starter.
Yeah. I don't know if Franklin's ready for the SEC yet. He never ran the ball, not against Clemson, and that's his whole forte is to run the option offense. But I think Auburn will win the football game. Gus Malzahn left Auburn as offensive coordinator, went to Arkansas State as a head football coach, done a great job there, And then when the head football coach came open at Auburn, he came back. So I look for Auburn to win the football game. Now, do you wonder if they'll have a big letdown after a huge disappointing loss to the number 2 ranked team in the country? You don't know, but I really do think Auburn will win the football game.
I guess the marquee matchup for several reasons, including playing the game at a racetrack, it will be Virginia Tech and number 17 Tennessee at Bristol Motor Speedway in Bristol, Tennessee.
Well, I've seen pictures of that. The place looks good. Expecting 150,000 people to watch a college football game. App State, by all rights, should have won the football game. But then, I remember several years ago when they went into the big house and knocked off the Michigan Wolverines. We don't know about the Hokies from Virginia Tech, how good they are, how bad they are. The quarterback from Tennessee, Jim's going to have to pick it up, but I'm going with the Volunteers.
I saw yesterday where Tennessee gets $4 million for selling their allotment of 40,000 tickets. Mm-hmm.
Not bad.
No. and Tennessee's got a lot of people back from last year.
Oh, yeah. Defensively, they're supposed to be real good, but App State ran on them. And we're talking about Appalachian State from Boone, North Carolina. You ever been there?
I have.
I have, too. And it's a small town. But I'm going to tell you, when they play these Division I powerhouses, they show up and show up well.
All right, let's look at LSU. LSU beaten by Wisconsin last week. Could have gotten beaten worse, but yet they still could have won the football game. Mm-hmm. And the Mad Hatter, he's on the hot seat again. They played Jacksonville State Saturday.
Well, yeah, and I remember last year when Jack State went into Auburn. Mm-hmm. Auburn finally won it in overtime.
Maybe shouldn't have won that game.
You're probably true. But again, Rock Thomas, the guy who transferred from Auburn over to Jack State, is a running back. And Jack State's got a lot of SEC linemen that left SEC schools and went to Jacksonville State. If Jack State goes into the Tiger Den or Death Valley and upsets them, he won't make it through the month. I'm speaking about the head football coach, Miles. But I just don't see it happening. Forsett, I think will have a huge game against the Gamecocks. They do play well in their division. They really do. They got a good football team, but I just don't think they're ready for the 100 and so thousand people that'll be in Tiger Stadium Saturday night.
If Les Miles thinks his seat was hot at the end of last season,
yeah,
and he got the different coaches in there, and he had his offensive coordinator down on the field for the first game. Now he's moving him back up to the press box. What does that say?
Well, lack of confidence, maybe. I don't know. But when that offensive coordinator calls a play, that Les Miles is listening to the same thing, and it's all finalized by him. He can change any play at any time. He's a run-first football coach. I think he's going to have to change for the times. And, just going back a little bit, I think Nick Saban was like that when he went to Alabama. Of course, he was a head coach at LSU, won a national title at LSU. Mm-hmm. But he changed with the time. He's got kids now that can run the football. He's got a quarterback now. Speaking of that, I think they've settled in with number 2. But I just, if it was to happen, I think they'd fire him this month. I really do. But I don't think it'll happen. I think LSU will beat Jacksonville State. A
lot of big marquee games next week, not a whole lot of them this week. And we conclude with Penn State University, one of the most storied programs in the history of college football. And there's just been so much bad stuff come out of there in the last few years. They play Pittsburgh at Heinz Field in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I think Coach Franklin is up there at Penn State now. And I've seen some of the comments that he's made. He doesn't really feel like that there's a whole lot of appreciation for Penn State's football team right now.
Well, he came from Vanderbilt, left Vanderbilt, went to Penn State. He'd done a pretty good job while he was at Vandy. He might need to beat his in-state rivals because the natives will be getting restless.
Absolutely. Now, quickly, before we go this morning, Alabama, 28.5 point favorite over Western Kentucky. The last time that Alabama was beaten by one of these type teams was when Saban was in his first year.
Was it Western Illinois or Northern Illinois?
Louisiana. Some Louisiana team beat them, remember? But anyway, they hadn't looked back since. And you got two quarterbacks now. Mm-hmm. Both of them are very young. And Coach Saban said, look, they're still works in progress. Both of them.
Jim, anytime you start a freshman quarterback or a first-year quarterback in the Southeastern Conference, and boy, I'm going to tell you, it's tough. It is really, really tough. And I think the number 2 quarterback, who wears number 2, I think they're just about going to settle in with him. He can escape pressure. He throws the ball pretty well, and he's got a good pair of legs that he can run with.
Can Sean White do the deal at Auburn?
Jim, they say he's faster than he looks. He's going to have to be. Again, Gus Malzahn's offense it's for a running quarterback. You talk about Cam Newton and Franklin and so on down the line. I just don't think Sean White can take the physical abuse of running the type offense that Auburn runs. I really do. What's the kid's name? It's Franklin too, isn't it? No, backup quarterback. My only gut feeling is I would take Johnson.
Put him somewhere.
Put him back there and hand it to him. He's a big old kid, 240, 245. I just don't think, I don't know. He was like a 4 or 5 star recruit when he came to Auburn. He had one good year, and then it just hadn't panned out for him. But, as big as he is, and you don't know how tough he is, you hope he's real tough, you got to put him back there and let him run the football.
Well, Auburn hosting Arkansas State, but after Arkansas State, the sledding gets really, really difficult.
There's some more Tigers coming to town.
Mm-hmm. Toots' Tips brought to you by the Huddle House on Highway 280 in Sylacauga. Always open, always fresh, and Toots likes to remind us it is smoke-free.
Yep, it is always smoke-free at the Huddle House. And I admire Doug North for what he done. You see guys come in, they like to sit around and drink coffee and smoke cigarettes and tell lies. I'm just telling you like it is. But now then they get their coffee and they go out and sit on the benches out in front of the store. I appreciate that, and I know the people who come in and out of that place do too.
You still like that big house breakfast?
Yes, I do. I eat it pretty regular. Sometimes at night.
Yeah, 24/7. It's a Huddle House. Toots' Tips. Brought to you each week by the Huddle House. Toots and I'll be down at Legion Stadium tonight for B.B. Comer and Montevallo. That's when we'll talk again. We got more Daybreak. Don't go away.